What's up, everyone? I'm Zach Barnett, and another episode of Sports Talk and the Success Table. Letting a few people hop on. What's up, everyone? I'm Zach Barnett, and another episode of Sports Talk and the Success Table. Mr. Kroom, how's it going, man? Wait 1 second, everybody. Will Kroom, how's it going, man? How's it going? I can't hear you. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. No volume. You're fine. But you're live with Sports Talk, and we're live, man. Wait 1 second, everybody.
Can you hear me?
Panic, how's it going, man?
Good, man. Was good with it.
Many blessings.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Kroom to hop on with us.
All right.
We got a good show for you guys. We're live on YouTube as we speak.
Back in the business.
Got another giveaway to do, and we're rolling, man. We're rolling.
Oh, we judging the? Are we waiting for the Pittsburgh game to complete the winner, right? Or you got the winner?
We were gonna do it off those three games from.
Yeah, so we gotta wait for tonight's game.
Yeah.
What's name? X in first place.
Yeah.
He picked the right one. Even though what's name was close, Dallas, and I told you there was a lot of mishaps, or else it would have been higher.
What did I tell you about the Texans game? That was
I was excited. I was excited for that one because Watson helped me out big time. he went off. What? And Fuller too.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. They postponed the game till today, so let's hopefully that it's no more setbacks.
For sure, man.
I'm looking forward to that game, though. I mean, it works out good because at least it's, I wonder. I didn't even double check because I wasn't even paying attention the last couple of days about if they still got a Thursday night game
For sure.
this week.
I'm pretty sure there is.
So what game you enjoyed the most out of the whole week? Oh, and then also
The way to make the final kick. Come on.
and
Give
then
him
also
Nick Foles.
also
Come on.
and also which game were you most disappointed in? That didn't live up to the hype or the expectations that you thought it would be.
Tough one, man. Tough one.
I would say I thought Trubisky would have gave Chicago a spark to at least make the game a little competitive, but it was a disaster. And then Tampa, I mean, that was like a little league game. Right? It was like, whoa, in the first half. It was like when you playing Madden and you put it on easy, right? And it's just like you just throw up bomb wide open people and stuff. So I was like, whoa.
That was
a crazy
tough game for Brady.
All right.
Huh?
Mr. Kroom, how's it going, man?
I'm over here trying to get this technology right.
Right.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. How you gentlemen doing?
We're
Doing good. What's up, brother?
Hey, man. Trying to navigate this new landscape of COVID life. You know?
I feel you on that.
We got another one hopping on. Mark, how's it going? Been doing a little interview about you guys' football journey. And the boxer is in the building.
Ready to roll.
Mark Lanton, how's it going, man?
Hi. Good afternoon. Good morning.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
The boxer, the champ. How's it going, man?
I'm walking.
You're fine. We have all day, all day. So, Mr. Kroom, how did it all start for you, man? How did you get involved with football?
Oh, man. You got to go back to the early 80s with my oldest brother. He had a career up at University of Massachusetts, and just, being a little lad, just watching him and just hearing the cannons go off. And, I knew that was something that I wanted to do. That's where I fell in love with the game. Just wanting to be like my brothers and, just the whole thing. I bought in, and it's been a love affair ever since.
What stands out about football, man?
Oh man,
so much.
When I look back, I really miss the teammates in the times that you had in the locker room and traveling and just practice, no other sport. I played a multitude of sports. I ran track, played lacrosse, I hooped. But just something about football, man. Those are your closest friends right there. You show me one sport where I'll gladly risk injury running into another person so you can score. Just things like that. Those lessons that you take in life when you're done, when the pads come off and you think about stuff like, man, that really has helped me in this certain situation.
Definitely. So, Mr. Lanton, how'd you get into professional boxing in your life, man?
Yeah, I guess I don't know if I have a bad connection or something because you guys keep going.
You're fine,
My
man.
screen keeps freezing and and coming back and going back and coming back.
You're fine, man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'm doing good. Living the life in Orlando, Florida. It's cold today for some reason. I don't know why. It's in the 50s.
for sure. So how did you get into professional boxing?
Oh, well, I mean, I started boxing when I was 10 years old, growing up in New York. I grew up in a poor neighborhood, and the police had programs for kids to join. And, I joined the boxing program, and I was good at it, and I enjoyed it. And the police said, if I want to continue to box, I need to stay out of trouble. So I stayed out of trouble. And because I wanted to box more than I wanted to do, mischief. So, that's how I, boxed throughout my teenage years, high school, middle school, and I joined the Army straight out of high school. And I became an Army boxer. I was the Army champion. I was European champion. I was the Armed Forces champion. And I fought in the Olympic trials. I won the Western Olympic trials for the 1992 Olympics. And then I got out the Army in 1992 after the 92 Olympics because I was going to turn pro at that time. And I was going to turn pro with a guy named Terry Norris. I don't know if you remember Terry Norris. At the time in 1992, Terry Norris was the hottest name in boxing. He just beat Sugar Ray Leonard, and he was the biggest name in boxing. He was a world champion. So I went out to San Diego, and I was training with them guys with the Terry Norris camp. And I turned them down. I turned everything that they didn't give me everything I wanted in my contract because boxing's a wicked business.
Oh,
And so I listened to people who I looked up to, like some of my old boxing coaches and people who I know cared about me. And they said, if you don't get these certain things in your contract, don't take it. So they didn't give me everything I wanted in my contract. So I turned them.
For sure. So
Police officer. Now, when I got out the Army after the 92 Olympics. And then I was a police officer in New York for 3 years. And at the same time, I joined the Air Force Reserves just to keep my military time going. I did 8 years in the Army at the time. So just to keep my military time going, I joined the Air Force Reserves. I switched over to the Air Force. I got smart. And then I relocated to Pensacola, Florida. The department and Brewer, Pensacola. And I've known Roy since he went to the Olympics. And Roy's trainer, Alton Murkison, was my coach in the Army. So we all know each other pretty close. So I was a full-time police officer in Pensacola, and Roy told me one day, he said, because I was always training with Roy for my recreation. And Roy told me, he said, why don't you just turn pro? You always train with us anyway. But at the time I was 32 years old. And I said, I'm 32 years old, man. I don't know but he said, I'll take care. So I'm glad I did. I turned pro out of the Roy Jones camp. And I'm glad I got it out of my system is the biggest thing, that I got it out of my system. And I fought a lot, a lot of on Roy Jones undercards, but this is when Roy was on top. And then I was a reservist. I was an Air Force reservist. So then 9/11 happened, and I ended up getting activated and getting sent to Iraq a few times. I was a combat medic, so I treated the wounded soldiers, in Iraq when they got wounded. So that just put a lot of, I guess, a big monkey wrench in the flow of boxing. So I didn't box anymore after I came back from Iraq because it was just wasn't there anymore. So, but I still in Orlando, I still play around. I always work out and stuff like that, and I help out kids, coach kids and stuff like that at various gyms in Orlando. Now, in 2018, I got inducted into the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame, which was a big honor for me. With you ever heard of Christy Martin?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Christy Martin she was inducted with me also, and a bunch of other boxers, Roberto Duran, a couple other guys. But just big honor. I'm still on cloud 9 from that. But that's on YouTube. That I had to make a speech and all that stuff, and it's on YouTube. If you ever get bored, you can watch some of my pro fights on YouTube. You want to watch me get beat up? You can do that.
I'm sure you throw haymakers. Come on.
I mean, they in there, but you can't.
Hey, but Mr. Kroon, What's the biggest lessons that you've taken from football?
Oh man, you got to be resilient. You got to be dedicated. You know, I tell a lot of kids you can't be an athlete in any sport, but you got to be bought in. You got to do the things. It's not all about free Nike and staying in hotels on the weekends. You got to like the grind. You got to get it out the mud, you know, and that's the way I train my kids. Any kid that I come across that's trying to go to the next level, I'm going to tell them the good, bad, and ugly. But, you know, it's a beautiful game, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Definitely. So, Mr. Lanton, biggest lesson that you've learned through boxing?
Wow, there's a lot of lessons I learned through boxing. You know, for one thing, you never underestimate anyone. You know, you never look at someone and say, you know, and already judge them. Don't tell them what this person is capable of that you're looking at. And it's from experience. One time I was fighting in what's called the World Military Games. It's the different countries, their militaries compete in a world tournament. So you know, in this tournament I was fighting in the finals. The first night I fought Uganda, like their military guy. Then I fought Uganda. Then I fought Pakistan. This was 1985. I remember like it was yesterday. And, you know, I have brain damage. I have TBI, you know, from 2 tours in Iraq. And but for some reason there's some things 30 years ago I can remember like it was yesterday. But I fought this guy from France in the finals named Laurent Boudouanet. At the time I was 19 years old. He was probably 18 or 19 also. At the weigh-ins, I saw him smoking a cigarette. After the weigh-ins, I said, "Oh man, I'm going to kill this guy," because I was going to fight him. So I'm going to kill this guy. I was so confident, and he gave me the best boxing lesson ever that I had in my life. Because I underestimated him, but doesn't take anything from him because he's a great boxer. Because he ended up becoming a world champion in the pros, and actually he fought Terry Norris and he stopped Terry Norris and beat a lot of guys. He's actually a boxing legend in France today. But you know, that's a lesson of mine is that I learned is I never underestimate anybody for anything. I look at somebody, they may look raggedy, they may look poor. I don't underestimate them. I still treat them like they're the top of the line because I don't know what their story is.
Definitely. Hannick, biggest lesson that you've learned through football?
I think just putting in the hard work, paying attention to details. Like he said, team camaraderie, working together. It shows you a lot of teamwork because it do translate into real life when you know with being married, any relationship that you have out there or any situation. It teaches you how to work together as a team and knowing that it takes two. And you know, just staying humble and you know, giving all you got, and no matter what, don't be discouraged and keep God involved. And you know, when you fall down, get up, dust yourself off, and keep going. Don't never give up or never give in.
Definitely. So, Mr. Lanton, Hannick's bringing up the territory of God. How has God impacted your life?
Oh man, well, no, I grew up in church. So I was born in church. I grew up in church. So you know, my faith is is the biggest part of my life. I ain't perfect though. I'm far from perfect. So I never claimed that. You know, but that's what got me through 2 wars, you know, my 2 tours to a war, you know, my faith in Jesus and that I'm going to be protected. And you know, I actually wrote a book in Iraq. It's in all bookstores nationwide now. It's a Christian-based book. The Fight Is Already Fixed is the title of the book. And but yeah, my brain damage sometimes gets to me, and I just forgot what you said, man.
You're all right, man. So how has God impacted your life?
Oh well, no, that's the center of my life, you know, and like I said, I'm not perfect, so you know I'm far from perfect, but that's who I center the way I make choices and the things I do. You know, I center around you know, my belief, my faith in God, and really, you know, would that please God? And really, and also, what would my mother think about some things that things that I do?
Definitely.
Because that's a big part of my life also. But my mother passed away, 1994, but she's still a big impact in my life. And most things that I've learned, I learned from her.
Definitely.
How you doing?
So, Mr. Kroom, how has football impacted your life? And beyond that, how has God been through those journeys? How has God been there for you?
So I was raised with a religious upbringing, and my parents always taught us to be kind, to share, have compassion, things of that nature. So I've always kept that with me. As far as my struggles with football up and down, I've gained those lessons that I've learned, and I've been able to share that with the young kids and kind of relive my football life through them, as far as just helping them out and sharing my knowledge and being kind and just trying to help guide these kids, because I feel like being in high school, it's a very impressionable age, and you kind of need that person. I try to be that uncle that has that wisdom to be, hey, listen, I've been there, you might want to do this or that. I'm not going to lecture you, but just going to try to let you know and navigate this system. I feel like my faith is, I've definitely been rediscovering it a lot more since I've gotten older. Just really prayer, the power of prayer. And it's something that I feel.
Definitely, man.
Yes.
So the COVID-19 thing on sports, how has that impacted your coaching career?
Well, we'd be doing a lot of things online. I'll have a lot of small groups, but it's really a lot of consulting and just trying to help a lot of these kids right now, because there's a lot of uncertainty, especially with the new NCAA rules, with kids being able to count this as a lost year and they can retain their eligibility. So you've got kids not leaving the program, and then you've got kids trying to get recruited to come into the program with limitations. So there's only so much room. So it's just trying to help these kids, understand what's going on and just try to be optimistic as possible for them and try to find some options.
Definitely. What are some of the guidelines?
Well, that the NCAA will have roster restrictions as far as scholarships. So let's just say if you have 85 kids on the team, now you've got kids that aren't graduating because they have that option to return. So now it becomes a logjam. I would say it really affects the lower divisions even more, because not a lot of those kids are going to be going on to the pros. So they want to play as long as they possibly can. The FBS level, you got a kid like Trevor Lawrence, will probably well, I've done what I had to do, so I'm going to get on out of here. So that kind of helps, but that's kind of the crux of what's going on. So the kids that are, let's say if UMass Amherst, for example, has 20 something scholarships available, that number is going to change because we already have this kid returning.
Definitely.
So I don't need 5 running backs. Probably might take 2. So my heart bleeds for those kids that are on the bubble. They didn't have any camps this year, and camps are a huge way for these kids to get noticed. So, I've kind of helped some kids with, setting up combines, hey, I have a laser 40-yard dash kit, so we can go ahead and film that. We can do a pro day type thing, anything that can help boost your stock so you can put that on social media. I had to help one of my young men who's playing for the Dallas Cowboys right now. He was supposed to have his pro day up at the University of Michigan, where he attended and played. And they shut down the school the day of his pro day. So, the day of the pro day. So he went to the combine and he only did the bench press. So we did a little impromptu pro day at the Auburn High School. From the whole thing, put it on YouTube, and it was great numbers. So I'm just trying to help the kids just think outside the box.
Definitely, man. So the best talent that you've seen come through your coaching career?
Oh man, I tell you, I've come across some fantastic kids. You know, I don't know what they're being fed these days, but gosh, I mean, I got a kid. He played at Assumption. His name is Doug Santos. Not the tallest kid, but my goodness, the kid can do a backflip and catch two footballs at the same time. You know, you got kids like Sean McKeon that I was talking about that's playing for the Cowboys. Got a kid Noah Gray at Duke. Uh, Man, yeah, I got some beasts. Got a kid right now named Cam Large, who's at Wisconsin, who he looks like a spitting image of J.J. Watt. So, you know, and I really love finding those diamond in the rough kids. A lot of people spend the time talking about kids that already have the top billing, but I really like to go find those kids.
Definitely.
Like, and we're littered with them around here. A lot of people, this is a major misnomer out here that we don't have talent. It's just not the case, you know. Just like my esteemed colleague talking about don't underestimate your opponent. A lot of people underestimate the talent up here in Massachusetts. You know, when you look at when the Yankee Conference, which is now the CAA, a lot of those teams were you know, UNH and UMass and Northeastern. They would be ranked in the top 25. You got a lot of kids that could have played at the level, you know.
Exactly. Waiting on Hannick to flop back in here, get his take on how God has impacted him. But my next question, let's scroll on. Best talent, Mark, that you've seen in your boxing journey? Can you hear me, Mark?
I can hear you now. I don't know why it keeps going in and out. I'm sorry about that.
You're fine. Best
I can
talent.
hear you now.
Best talent that you've been around through your boxing journey?
Oh man, it's incredible. Because I grew up when I was coming up. I've known Mike Tyson since I was 15. And we came up and we were taught by the same trainer when we first started to learn how to box, Cus D'Amato. And that's a style that we learned how to box when I first learned how to box. And but I've been around, I mean, all kinds of like boxing, Hector Camacho, Muhammad Ali, and a lot of Army guys who I was in the Army with, Ray Mercer, Anthony Hembrick, Kennedy McKinney, a lot of Olympic gold medalists. You can go on, Roy Jones Jr., Vince Phillips. I mean, these guys are world champions at the time. Terry Norris. I can go on and on and on. The guys that I've been around. But the biggest impact was when I was a kid. Those guys, really the old guys, the guys who used to box in the 1920s. I mean, I'm talking like the late 70s, early 80s, when old guys, 80-year-old guys were training, coaching. Back then you could still smoke cigars, in the boxing gym and stuff like that. But those guys were they were really, influential in my life, as a kid, because they helped me stay out of trouble. They told me to do the right thing, stay away from the girls because the girls are going to get you in trouble, and I'm glad I did. That was hard to do, and a lot of times I failed on staying away from the women because that's probably an addiction of mine, but I've never drank alcohol in my life. I never smoked a cigarette. I never did drugs. So a lot of things a lot of influences that I had, helped me make those kind of decisions. And I guess that's one good decision that I've made in my life, to never smoke, drink, or do drugs.
Definitely.
I made a lot of bad decisions, but at least that was a good decision I made.
Definitely. Hey, that's a thing for kids, man, to hear a professional boxer say that sort of stuff. Man,
Yeah.
what stands out about Mike Tyson, and your journey with him? What stands out about Mike Tyson?
Oh, he's a lovable guy. He's a lovable guy. I guess, sometimes the media might paint him as something, but he's just a lovable guy. He's one of them guys that everybody loved, but he was the guy you never wanted to piss off. That was, you never wanted to piss him off, but he was well loved by everybody.
Definitely. So, Mr. Kroom, on your roster right now, how many players do you have that are going to go probably professional?
Wow, let's see. I've had 5 so far. Currently, I project that I'll probably have about in the next 2 years, I'll have about 7. I've got some kids right now that are really, really doing the thing at the college level. Got Kevin Mensah, who's a Worcester guy. He's playing at UConn right now. He just finished up a back-to-back 2,000-yard campaign. Obviously, this year UConn didn't play due to COVID, but he was up for the Doak Walker Award. So he's a guy that I foresee having some NFL opportunities. Noah Gray coming out of Duke will definitely have some. Gosh, who else is out there? Sometimes I forget about some of the kids. It's really been a beautiful thing to see these kids, come up.
Definitely, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of kids.
So, what preparation does it take to be a college football player? What preparations does it take?
Well, I mean, aside from having the film and the talent, we got to go to the classroom. I've coached at the college level along with the high school for several years, so I'm able to, to help these kids. That not only was I a recruited kid and a college player, I'm now on the other side of it, and I'm able to give them and the parents the insight that, hey, listen, man, you got to have all of it, and these are the grades that you have to have, and I even, will put kids on to certain things to help them out. Like, hey, if you need help with your GPA, there's a program that you can take online to help supplement your GPA. So while you're taking classes right now at your high school, you can go ahead and knock out this math class in 4 weeks. A lot of people don't know that, so this is a way to help boost your stock, because we just want to make sure that you're academically solvent. And if you can't be academically solvent in high school, how am I going to expect you to do that, in college? And then I got to go ahead and re-recruit the same position. So a lot of people don't realize that, so it's just being able to just give them that wisdom and the insight. And everything that I've been through and knowledge that I've gained, I'm more than willing to help pass that on to the next generation.
Definitely. So, Mr. Hannick, do you have any questions for these guys?
Yes, Mark. 2 things. How does boxing and being in the military, as far as preparation, come together?
Well, when you're in the Army, you're a soldier first. So boxing was something that was what you call a special duty. Because I'm a soldier first. I was an infantry soldier. I was a foot soldier. That was my job in the Army. I was the guy that that carried the rifle and fought the war.
Yeah.
So but I managed to get on the boxing team, but I was still a soldier first, so that was the priority. But the Army and all the services back then, they supported like those extracurricular type activities because it helped with esprit de corps, your pride in one another, and just to keep that competitive edge. We boxed. So the Army had a boxing team, and I made the team, and I won the championship. And the Army always had the best boxing team in the nation, to be honest with you. Like when you go to the national championships, the Army was always the team with the most champions because we were in the best shape. Because that's all we did.
Yeah.
A lot of guys. I mean, a lot of Army boxers didn't have like a great talent, but they were in such great shape that they beat the non-military boxers, the civilian guys, because the Army boxers were just in such great shape, nonstop punching for the entire fight. A lot of guys, Roy Jones, I've known Roy Jones since about 1988, since before he went to the Olympics in 88, I've known Roy Jones. And Roy Jones would say, man, the Army guys, you Army guys, are the greatest conditioned athletes that he's ever seen.
Yeah.
Because that's just the mentality of the military. This is like balls to the wall, man. But that's just the culture of the military lifestyle.
Okay, I want to say thank you for your service. I appreciate you. I'm a big fan of the military and supporter. And then second, how does your body feel? How does the comparison of working out with the Army feel like after boxing match and boxing training? How does your body feel after that, mentally and physically? How do you what's the difference, or is it harder or is it the same? I mean, the military is hard, but I'm just talking about how do you after a game you're sore, right? So when you're training, is it, because I know boxing is very hard, compared to a lot of sports. So how's the training, preparation, and the aftermath of those compare?
Yeah, boxing it's a full-time job. I know a lot of guys, because a lot of guys, you could play in a basketball tournament. You could play in a basketball tournament after the game, drink a couple beers and eat some food, whatever, and play just as good the next day. Boxing is a whole different thing. If you box in a tournament, 3 days, if you have to fight 3 days in a row, after your fight, you ain't going to relax and go to Applebee's and eat a dinner and then go to sleep and play the next day. No, you gotta make weight. So after your fight, you gotta fight the next day. You're working out. You're literally jumping rope. That kind of stuff. Putting plastic on and jumping rope so you can make weight for the next morning. Because when you weigh in, because you're dehydrated, you're basically starving. After you weigh in, you get a chance to eat, and of course you're gonna eat a lot of food.
Yeah,
you can eat a lot, so you're gonna be over your weight class. So after your fight of a tournament, if you win that fight, you got to fight the next day. Then you're working out. You're jumping rope. You're in the sauna. You're shadow boxing. You're wearing that plastic to lose that weight to weigh in the next morning to fight the next day. So boxing is really a full-time job. Even like in a training camp as a pro, a 6-week training camp, you're watching what you're eating. It's not just after you train or after you run, you're done. No, you still got to look at what you're putting in your body. And of course you want to put the good stuff in your body, but the amount also, because you're looking at your weight. You're looking at, especially a lot of guys, unless you're a heavyweight, a lot of heavyweights are just fat. So they just eat what they want and weigh what they want, because they don't have to be a certain weight. But a middleweight or a light heavyweight, a welterweight, like I fought 160 middleweight. I walked around. My walking around weight was like 175. So I had to come down to 160. Jeez. So it's a full-time job. You got to watch what you're eating, how much you're eating, and it's really the liquids. The liquids is what put your weight. It's hard to eat 2 pounds of food, but it's easy to drink 2 pounds. It's easy to eat, drink 2 pounds of Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, especially when you're thirsty. So it's really a full-time job, boxing. Definitely. They say you might make $1 million in a fight, but that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're probably taking home $200,000 or $300,000. After all your day.
Everybody get a piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, thank you. Will.
Yes.
Me being a former football player like yourself, I have what was your biggest obstacle to stay focused and to maintain that desire and passion outside of the team camaraderie or playing with but what was your personal drive outside of you loving to play with people, you have because they have these down moments when some of your teammates get on your nerves and you don't feel like being around them in the locker room. So outside of the teamwork and loving to play with the players, what was your biggest obstacle and motivation to keep you going through all the ups and downs?
Oh man, just the love of the game. I've come out of high school. I was committed to play at Boston College, and they sent me to Bridgeton Academy, and all that was contingent on me getting my SAT score. And when I did not get that score that was needed, life goes on.
Right.
That was a big gut, gut punch.
Right.
And so you're in scramble mode right now because you're trying to figure out, okay, I'm ineligible.
Right.
God, all my options, what's going on here? So just by the grace of God, a couple of coaches that's looked out for me and made some calls, and that's how I ended up at the University of West Georgia. But besides that first hurdle, I love carrying that ball, man. Carrying that ball and just that rush.
Right.
I really love to work out. But yes, there definitely were some times where you wanted to, I wanted to go to that party, but I got workouts at 7.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely.
And those winter workouts were beast. But I guess it goes back to that concept of I can't be late. I gotta be there.
Right.
I gotta be there for the team. I also don't want to get punishment from the strength and conditioning coach. Right. So I guess like fear of failure was something to drive me. Letting my family down, my family name down.
And as far as teammates and coaches, who are the ones that are more memorable to you that kind of helped, like you would be like, that's somebody that pushed me. That's somebody that actually, but sometimes when we're in there, everybody worrying about that check.
Yeah.
But who you think was like genuine, was like, that's like a brother to me? Because I feel like that's very important. And I had those guys when you're having a bad day, or you pick me up guys, or pick me up coach. Sometimes we need a little boost outside of that, outside our toughness. You know what I mean? So who was those particular? Like, you could name one coach, one player that sticks out to you.
Oh man, I look at some of my my teammates when I went to Bridgeton Academy. He played at UMass. Steve Costello, and Craig Chisholm. He played at Marshall. Funny, just hilarious. I swear, those two in the same room, man, your stomach's gonna hurt from laughing so hard.
Right.
And then, my running back room in college. I mean, these guys we fed off each other. There was no rivalry. My guy, my main guy, Mike Alexis, he was really there to, talk to me. We go ahead and go, eat some Domino's at the practice, just talk about the day, talk about what's on our mind, girl, whatever, practice. We over there pushing each other like, oh, you about to bust the run? Man, let me go ahead and get that. Let me tote that now.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So those are things I miss a lot,
Okay.
And I'm sure you can attest to that. Just, those are the things that helped me get by.
Okay. Last question.
Yes.
Now, I know me personally was kind of weird and rough, but how did you deal with being one of the top guys and making that transition from college to the pros, and the difference of the environment of all the hands out, or you know what I mean, the females, the women, and friends, and all these new people that came about you? How was that? How did you make that adjustment? And like, was it difficult to say yes or no, or did you have that air up to know who's with you, or who's just there because of who you are?
I've been fortunate to have a family support system, very grounded, having 2 older brothers that played at the college level. I was always there to lean on them for some advice and things of that nature. The women aspect, yes, the women, that's all state and tackling everybody.
Right.
But
we gotta let them know, let the audience, hear a little bit of it and see, because I asked that question because I realized that it was so, like you said, I had my brothers and things like that, so it was more low key. But I realized that after a while, I started seeing the same females at every little spot.
Right.
And were you comfortable, or were you scared or nervous or untrusting of dating anyone in that position? You being in that position?
I would always try to not put myself in that situation. You know, if I ever went to the clubs and things of that nature, I'm just with the fellas, just kicking it. Maybe we might have a few on the side, but it was never going to get me caught up like that. You know, I have an older sister, so she would kind of tell me like things to look out for. You know what I mean? And I always had a steady girlfriend most of the time, keep me grounded.
Yeah,
I get into some trouble now.
definitely.
It's funny because one of my clients that plays for the Cowboys now, you know, he was talking about how, especially now, they're really on him about that. They had a whole separate 2-hour meeting about, hey, you got to stay away. These girls know you. You know how you make, and they're on you.
Right.
Something that I was like, whoa, I wasn't even privy to that when I was coming up. You know, you had gold diggers and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
To the extent that it is now.
Definitely. And that was it. I asked that question because I wanted people to kind of understand that just because it's not all glitz and glamour,
right,
that being in a high position, and that it's very difficult, and it could be, it's the small things are what sticks out the most and what gives you the most trouble. So thank you guys very much for that. I had because I wanted to give a switch up, you know, and kind of get the little, you know, how you're feeling type questions and how to make those adjustments, because it could happen in any work environment, especially now what you're doing, and you know, and the same. I want people to understand that the same thing persists outside that transition and building yourself up and being on a high level, like, you know, like Zach, you know, boss man. But yeah, that's it, man. I just want to ask those little inside questions.
Very good question. It's a question that a lot of people don't really talk to these young men about too much. Right. You gotta really protect yourself and your brand. You can't have your fun. I'm not gonna say go be a square and go do your thing, but be mindful that there's some things that you can't cross that line.
Definitely.
So
thank you.
So Mark, asking you the same question that Hannah just referenced. Do you have trouble with that along your professional boxing career?
Oh, trouble with women or the issues with Oh heck yeah, because I was in the Roy Jones camp, and you know, there were a lot of women who they wanted to get to Roy, but they felt they figured that they can get through me to get to Roy. You know, but Roy's too smart. Roy knows. Roy is totally insulated. So I just let the women, you know, if they think they're gonna get through me to get to Roy, that's fine with me, because hey, I just want to have sex anyway. So I'll have sex with you. You know, we can hang out and do that kind of thing. But you know, in the back of my mind, I know she ain't gonna get to Roy, because you know, Roy's already, you know, he's totally insulated, and that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Good.
That's a good question right there, Zach.
I
totally forgot to ask you that one too, but I was so more into, because I'm like, I know his body hurting doing the military and boxing. So I was like,
oh yeah,
he found a way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know, training for a fight is like, I couldn't wait. You know, I couldn't wait to fight. You know, because I just didn't want to train anymore. But training is much harder than fighting. Oh. And I couldn't wait. Fighting is the easy part. You know, when in boxing, you know, when you look at it, because training is just the starving, the dehydrating, the training. You know, the literal training of, you know, various things, and, you know, sparring different guys, you know, when you're already exhausted, and then having to do other punching drills and fundamentals and stuff like that. But the big thing about Roy, even though Roy does stuff that nobody else can do in the ring, he worked everything off of fundamentals. You know, every day, like the first day back in the gym after we fought, the first day back in training, we just started with fundamentals, like it was the first day we ever learned how to box. You know, stepping, you know, we're moving our feet and that kind of thing. You know, so Roy was very fundamentally sound, even though he looked like he was like a jazz player. You know, in the boxing ring, where he just did what he felt like doing, but he worked everything off of fundamentals. You know, Michael Jordan he does all these fancy 360 dunks and everything, but he works everything off fundamentals too. So the thing about boxing is you got to be fundamentally sound to be able to keep your balance, to be able to have your body weight behind punches instead of using your muscles to throw the punches. You're using your body weight. So there's a lot of moving parts when you throw a punch. It's not you just throwing your fist out there. Your whole body's doing something to work to make that punch happen. So a lot of people don't know that. They just think you're just throwing punches, but there's techniques to everything. When you throw punches, like Tommy Hearns, tall, skinny guy, he put people to sleep, with his punches not because of his muscles, because he didn't have any muscles. Like Mike Tyson had muscles. He had the leverage, and he had the technique of how to throw those punches where he can knock you out cold. Because Tommy Hearns knocked people out like they just went to sleep. I mean, and so I forgot what I was talking about, bro. To be honest with you, I got head injuries, man. From Iraq, I have head injuries that cause me, cause memory lapses and things like that. And I'm getting better at it though, but it still messes with me though. And the VA, they're pretty good, but I wish they were more. I wish they were a little more, I guess, proactive on helping us guys with TBI. Because in Iraq, I was a medic, so I treated the wounded guys, and there was a lot of guys, after we got attacked, like there was bombs going off, explosions. Sometimes, like the percussion of the bombs, of the explosions, knocked you out, knocked you unconscious. Just the pounding. Like you're standing next to a speaker at a concert, and it's just pounding like that. But probably like 1,000 times more powerful though of an explosion. But a kid would get knocked unconscious from the explosion, and it happened to me too. I've been knocked unconscious too. And when they wake up, they don't know anything. They don't know their name. They don't know how to tie their shoe. They don't know. It's like they're an infant in an adult body, but there's nothing about they have no physical wounds at all. But their brain, they got the brain damage because their brain shook inside their skull and caused brain damage. And these guys now, they have to relearn how to walk. I mean, literally learn how to talk and stuff like that. And they don't know how to tie their shoes, and they would just wander around like they have Alzheimer's. And I don't know. That probably should have been me. Sometimes I have what's called survivor's guilt, where I wish that would have happened to me instead of this 18-year-old kid, because now he has to live his life like this. And, I just pray for these guys because, but that they recover fully.
Right.
Definitely. So
to touch. Go ahead. I was going to touch on what he was. Yeah. Because when I feel you on that, because I've dealt, I deal with anxiety and depression, and when I was in the program with some of the military, I heard a lot of those stories, man. Where, the last guy I know, he got his legs blew off, right, literally, but he survived. And he was at the same time he was still pulling people like he was like in charge, but they was so surprised how he was still alert. So I've heard those stories, so I already know, man, dealing with that stuff, with the military and stuff, and some of them stories, man, is rough, like you said. So, and we had like football, we have that, and I deal with that now, doing little things here and there, like I was speaking to Zach about. I have a great day, and then the next day I'm just out of it, like just don't feel like doing anything. Appetite is off, things like that, worry, like guilt, like this. It's just weird. So I totally wanted to touch on that, let a lot of, viewers and let them understand that it's a lot of things that comes with these sports. It's not just about fame and fortune. It's a lot of physical, personal things that lingers with you for the rest of your life. Whether and it has no, it's not judgmental. It don't care how old you are. It's very difficult. And it's also, having that support and God being a major part of that as well, because he helped me tremendously with my rebirth, with my transition. I gave up alcohol.
Oh, good.
7 months. 7 months. You
Good.
know, 'cause I used to thought that was a key. You know what I mean? But I never realized that I was dealing with these anxieties and all this stuff. So that was a good thing you brought that up. So I wanted to share some of that as well on my end, just to let you know what I did. Well, how about you, Will?
It's funny that you bring that up. You know, and I read an article probably about 7 years ago. It was talking about how, especially in football, you're in the realm of just, you know, macho.
Right.
And these kids, these athletes, we don't have an outlet to really talk about feelings, so to speak. You know what I mean? It's about if it isn't about the X's and O's, you don't, the coach ain't trying to hear that. So, you know, that's why these guys are getting to drinking and doing some of these other things, because it's a way to kind of like let loose. Like,
Right.
you know, if I'm going ahead talking about what's going on with, I don't know, my wife might be messing with the whole damn team or baby mama, whatever have you. You know what I mean? You don't have nobody, man, just suck it up. Just push on. Nah, man, I need somebody to talk to.
Right.
And when the game is gone, you know, like usually in practice, I go out there. If I have a bad day, I'm like, all right, man, I'm just going to go ahead and just let loose somebody. You know what I mean? But you can't do that when the pads come off.
Right.
They were saying that the NFL and even college,
Yeah.
you really got to work on making some type of vessel for these kids to communicate their feelings. And, you know, I always thought when I was going to be a coach, I'm going to be that type of coach. That I'm going to listen to my player.
Right.
I'll take, for example, I was coaching at Worcester State, and one of our players wasn't being his normal self. You know what I mean? He was always a guy that he was just full of joy. He was dropping balls, and just his body language was way off. Coaches are getting on him, but I'm like, come here, man. What's going on? What's really going on, man? He's like, man, well, grandma died, and then my friend got shot at, and nobody knew that. And I was like, y'all got to talk to him, coach. Y'all got to we had like a meeting after that. So that was something to really help. And it changed the whole kid's disposition when somebody was really like, wow, somebody really wants to listen to me, you know, and interest.
Yeah. They talked about that a lot with the military guys. They was like one of them, and we became real close in there. And he was talking about all this, because they used to give us a lot of paperwork, like this, like it's on paper, read it. He was like, what the hell? He was like, because seriously, he was like, this is not school. We actually need to talk to you about stuff. You're giving us stuff on paper, like why are we here if you're not like telling us and giving us the exercises to go through? So that was a good point. I would just wanted to say that, you know. So I've dealt with, like, you know, like you were saying about the military, man. Like football and that is the same. And like the VA, they used to complain about the VA not as, you know, because I think they pick it like someone was like, well, they're cool with some, and then some they just whatever. So those are the things that people have to know, man. And these are great points, you guys. And, you know, it's fun that we get to share and let people know, because on the outside we look normal, but they don't know what's going on the inside. Oh, my bad, Zach. Go ahead, though.
You're fine. But bringing up the whole CTE situation in football and life after football, what is like the main points of like a trigger that really ruffles that stuff up in football players? Panic. What are some of the things that, like,
what triggers like the anxiety and all that? Yeah. Not like, if I don't keep myself busy, or if I hear anything, keeping myself away from negativity, but it could be something I see on TV, or it could be something somebody says, or it could just be a memory, and my mood will change real quick, you know, or I get agitated easy, stuff like that, you know. So that's why I have to take medicine, you know, medication to help me cope with that stuff. And, you know, like he said, I used to rely on alcohol a lot, but I took myself, and now I rely on God more than I did before. like literally, you know, sometimes we just say, hey, Lord, Lord, Lord. No, but I'm like an intimate type relationship with him, talking to him. And that's what helped my change, you know. And I mean, seriously, if you saw me 7 months ago, I wouldn't look clean and clear like I did, you know what I mean, with my weight. But I started taking the Lord serious, start applying it to my life, start having that support, surrounding myself with the right people. I kept it humble that I was taking that step of going. I took myself, you know, with my family and stuff into impatient, you know, and I didn't talk about, I'm really talking about it now outside of my circle, because I wanted to, I know I had to get to a place where I'm stronger, but I take it each day is crucial for me, right? The disease never goes away. So anything I do, anything I say, any situation I'm around, I have to be very careful because I could be triggered at any time. Anxiety, because I go straight to sadness, straight to anger.
Definitely.
Oh, it froze on me.
So those are the things that, you know, that I have to be aware of in dealing with this problem.
So, Mark, what is some of the things that trigger your brain injuries to flare up?
Well, a lot of times, well, I like Hannick, you know, I was the VA, like they gave me all these kinds of psychotropics and things like that, and for depression, PTS, you know, I'm retired. Like when I was boxing pro, I was also a full-time police officer at the same time for the Pensacola Police Department, and I was in the Air Force Reserves all at the same time. So I was very busy at one time.
Yeah.
And so there were times where I'd fight on a Saturday night, and I'd have to be to work Sunday morning, you know, as a police officer. So you know, but my desire to do it, you know, it was, to me, it was no problem, because I wanted to do that. You know, I wanted to fight, I wanted to box, but I didn't want to go to work though. But I had to go to work because I got to eat, and I never spent my fight money. So like money, I just still lived off my police salary. I mean, I bought a car or some stuff like that, but I didn't do like a lot of guys do, and just buy all kinds of jewels and cars and stuff like that, and think the money never ends, because you know I follow people's advice. So that's what, I guess that's another good thing I did about me, which is, you know, that I always follow people's advice who I trusted.
Right.
But yeah, the drugs, you know, that the VA give me, like, you know, all these kinds of drugs, and for you know, anxiety, depression, nightmares. I still have nightmares. You know, I left last time I was in Iraq was in 2008. I still have nightmares of stuff that happened. It's weird. I have nightmares of actual incidents that actually happened. I have nightmares on. So but you know, it helps. The psychotropics help, you know, but right. I'm trying to wean myself off of it, because I don't want to take drugs. You know, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to have to wake up and take 12 pills, you know, in the morning when I wake up.
Right.
So I'm trying to wean myself off of it without telling the VA, you know. So I'm trying to do some other therapies, group therapies and stuff like that, that can help take place of the psychotropic drugs.
Yeah.
Because that stuff it has side effects. So
yeah,
you know,
gotta be careful.
I don't want to bother with that. And
a lot of water.
Yeah.
Because it dehydrates you. And to add on with you, like doing the show with Zach, we call this self-care. So like I was speaking to, you know, it's I'm doing something, right? And it's like how we was in the program, they gave us activities. And it's not like I'm in a crowd or anything. So it's different. So it's helpful, but it's a good outlet for me. And it's a, like you said, it's doing something, staying busy, because the problem we had, you know, as we started playing football, we're not realizing or boxing, we're not realizing what's happening. Like, I never knew what a concussion was, like literally when I had one or anything, or how many times playing special teams, I probably hit my head a million times because that's all I did. So like I said, having this outlet and is a part of self-care, what they taught us in the program. So that's, like, to touch on your point, you were so busy, you didn't realize nothing until after, like, the meds. I've cut off. Some of it I don't take no more, but I take mood stabilizers, gabapentin, stuff, because I still ache every day. I don't take the Seroquel because I switched up. They used to give me that to help me sleep because I struggle to sleep, but I do have nightmares sometimes, just weird, vivid dreams and stuff like that. And anxiety and sweats and nervousness a lot. Like, it's weird, like out of nowhere, So that's very key that that we deal with. I don't know about Will, how you been feeling, but Zach, I know Zach had something he got. I'm just touching bases. I'm like with y'all. It's crazy because I get into it because having somebody to share this talk with, it's I'm able to speak more about it and be more open, about what I deal with. And I want people to know we're real on here. What I mean? It's not we're not doing it for whatever. It's like, this is real, So
Definitely.
I'm glad to have this outlet as well to be able to share with like you said, share with the younger generation. It is nothing to be ashamed about, man.
Right.
Getting help.
Definitely. So, Mr. Kroom, I don't know if you have CTE or any type of brain injury, but what are some of the triggers that, like, makes that stuff flare up?
I could definitely relate to just wanting to be in bed all day sometimes, and I'll be well rested. You know what I mean? So I don't know why. There'll be some days where you'll feel a little low. I can definitely relate to that. Anxiety sometimes. Not so much with the head. Not that I know of. I'm pretty sure I've gotten dinged quite a few times, So we're from the day of how many fingers and get back in there, So I tell people now, like, I have two young boys that play football, and I guess right now is the safest time to play football. It's almost like flying post 9/11. You got to take courses as a coach to be familiar with the signs, and if you report a sign, you're out like 9 days, no questions, So, but the anxiety and the depression is something that I could definitely attest to.
Yep.
And it was funny that you gentlemen were talking about the drugs, and especially the ones that the VA were giving you. I was listening to, I think his name is it Marcellus Wiley? I think that's who it is. He was talking about
former teammate.
There you go. Yeah. He was talking about there's a lawsuit going on with those guys about the drugs that the NFL is administering, because a lot of the guys are the whole CBD movement. They're like, we would rather take that than some of the drugs that you got us on, like the Toradol and all these other drugs that
every game
highly addictive.
Every game.
So you tell me which one is the devil's coin side of the coin, the CBD marijuana or the stuff you're giving me, So there's a lot of things that you're exactly right that need to be talked about. It's just letting these kids, know. And that's the one takeaway that I got from the movie Concussion when I watched it. It didn't make me shy away from the game, but it was like, if I ever have a child that is fortunate enough to go to the National Football League, I'm going to be on that. But, I'm going to figure out what's going on with my child. We're getting 5 or 6 different doctors,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it.
Definitely. Hank, do you have any more questions for these guys? And we'll take some questions from the viewers out there.
Nah, they touched on everything, man. Just having the conversation flow. So I didn't have to ask no more. We talked about it. So those are the key things that I really wanted to talk about, man. Having these guys to relate to 2 different, being on 3 different sports, football on our end, and then you got boxing in the military. So that was great to hear how they work together, and that it's even you guys this is the one thing I could say. The military should be paid like a professional athlete should pay, and their job is way harder than what we do.
Absolutely.
So if they say our job is hard, imagine what they do, because it's more pressure, more responsibility, more physicality, mentally and physically, outside of the sports, because that their game could be every day when our game is once a week. So
they should be able to go to college anywhere they want scot-free.
Yeah, free. And also, on Mark's point, we played the Army every year, and me and my brother, these boys do not get tired. They don't. They can be down 100. They playing like the game just started. So I wanted to say that, because I was at University of Houston, and I'm telling you, oh my God, and them boys be coming too. They all they're the hardest team I ever played. I'm serious. Like they 100 miles per hour every down. So I had to when you said that, I was like, yeah, I already know. I witnessed it. Like Roy Jones said, yep, that's true, because tired. Shit. That's all. Excuse my language. I apologize.
Oh.
So, Hanik, what stands out besides the speed aspect of Army when you played them?
The discipline. Well disciplined, well coached. You're not gonna see penalties like much at all, if any. And just they're what they call it. They're very professional. They're gentlemen. They'll kick your tail. They don't say much. They take care of business. I mean, it's an honor playing against them, man. Because, and you know what's funny, my education on the military, when it comes to them, I didn't know that they have to go do service as well. I thought it was just a school where they just play sports and that's it. But I never knew they had a lot of extra things that comes with playing. So that's what I learned from that.
Definitely. Well, we're live on YouTube. What does the audience, what questions? Ezekiel said that he might have won the Madden.
Yeah, I said that. He's in if unless Pittsburgh, somebody pick Pittsburgh and they go on beyond, he's the winner of the Madden. I don't know if he inboxed it. I think he Xbox would be the one he wants.
Yeah.
So I think he won it. I don't think that Pittsburgh and the Ravens score is gonna make a difference, because no one's gonna get that one because of all the injuries. I think that one should be excluded because of all the circumstances. So I think XLU, congratulations. My buddy right there, Zach, what you think? Because of the what they call it, they had to reschedule the game multiple times.
But there's a 10-point spread on that game, man.
They got a 10-point spread.
Yeah,
they're not gonna make that. Who they got Steelers? Yeah, I mean, because what's name ain't playing. But yeah, I think we should exclude this one. But just because of the COVID.
Definitely. So, Mr. Sanchez, send Hanik your information. He'll pass it on to me, and I'll send that stuff out to you.
Oh yeah, and I also want my band too. Exactly.
I got you.
I collect them. I got all the you know what? I think I'm gonna get. We're gonna get some. I think we should grab some of the scripture ones. I'm gonna grab a bunch of those, and we could get those out, because those are very. What I was relating to with I know y'all was speaking about the Lord. What I learned is that whenever He gives me a word, or I get the daily devotionals or whatever, I post it, because it never, like, it's people, whoever look at it, it could touch somebody, might need that word. And I know a lot of times when I read the devotional, it don't relate to me all the time, but I share it because there's a lot of people out there that word touches them. and it could do wonders for him. So I spread it, and I used to be I'm not doing it to be religious, but I think it would be selfish of me to hide that good word and not share the blessings that God has done for me. And I think it's key that people realize that God doesn't care about anything but you just being 100 with him and just believing in him. You could go, because I tell people, you can go to church every day and don't have that relationship with God. Having a relationship with God and believing in him is what he wants more than anything, going to church or anything like that. So I just want to put that out there.
For sure.
He saved my life, man. You know, trust me. I look at the way I'm living now, and with the support, you know, I'm telling y'all, man, it's what he done for me these last 7 months, and I'm able to see it. It's night and day, man. Anybody that know me know what I was dealing with, and that's why I tell people, man, don't be ashamed, man. Like, I'm 41 years old. I played in the league and all that, but I'm telling you, I'm more happy about my life now because I got rid of that poison, and I'm close with God now, and just being able to share my story. You know, like Will and Mark, man. I'm hoping people are watching to get that great education, because I got educated from it myself. So, I mean, I just want you guys to understand, man. That's watching or paying attention. These words are crucial, man, and I learned not to take anything for granted, man. At all. You know, people dropping like flies every day. Don't wait till you're sick to go to the Lord, man, because he got your back. You know, I lost my pops, you know, so, and if I wouldn't have connected with the Lord, I would have probably been drinking my butt off to this day. You know, I'd have went back to that, but I was able to be strong. And when we had the little get-togethers after, people were drinking, I didn't touch one thing, man. But the key was my boys, they were in support of me not drinking, and they didn't ask me to. That was my excuse. My losing my pop, that's very close to us. That was one of the major parts of my success. And a year ago, I would have reverted to alcohol if God didn't swoop me up and put me in this position right now. So that's my testimony. That's facts. And I want you guys to understand, man, how important it is to me, man, because my life was saved, relationships were saved. And, you know, when I spoke to my mom, when I first got out the program, she was like, that's the son I know. Here, my son's back. And that meant the world to me, because your mother knows the difference. So I just wanted to share that, man.
So, Mr. Kroom, the biggest obstacle that you've had to go through throughout your football journey?
Biggest obstacle, man. Aside from school, just trying to just stay with it, not letting doubt creep in, not letting, you know, people. I had some people be like, you should hang it up and all that stuff, and just that doubt. You know, you can't let that creep in. I always try to tell people, if you believe in something, you just got to work. But if you don't believe in it, you might as well stop. You got to be your biggest advocate. You got to bet on yourself. You know, there's always going to be haters. Always tell people hated on Jesus. So who are we?
Right.
We different.
Definitely.
You know,
the biggest thing with God, if he's for you, who shall be against you? So
absolutely. I can definitely, you know, I remember one time I would drink sometimes. I had a couple of friends that passed away, and it was getting a little too much of the bottle.
Right.
And there's been some times, and I was like, you know what, certain situations I'm getting into, and I prayed. I don't want to have that taste in my mouth, and it really went away. As far as I can have a couple of beers, but as far as getting crazy like that, it really went away. I could really be at a bar and just have a couple, and I'm good.
And the reason why I stopped, and I'm going to show you how it relates to football.
Yep.
Anything that I do, I give 100%, right, when it comes to activities. And I got to the point knowing that I couldn't just say 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. And because remember, I'm not thinking about the condition I had. I didn't realize it till I went to docs and they told me what I had. So while I'm thinking that's curing me, it's actually making it worse.
Yep.
And causing me to so, and that's the reason why because I tried the casual, and especially with COVID, it got to a point of I had to eliminate it all the way, because I felt like that was the biggest challenge that God had for me. I don't smoke or do anything like that. So that's the challenge. I sacrificed that, right? Because that's the one thing that I could never shake ever. And when I stopped for 30 days, that was the longest in probably a decade, or almost 2 decades. Think about it. So, and 7 months and counting, because each day is a new day. That 7 number don't mean nothing. So today's another day, tomorrow don't count. But like you said, you're disciplined, and that's the thing. And I wasn't able to be disciplined in that. So what's the best thing? Eliminate it. That way I don't have no excuse. And it's okay, because stopping completely is discipline. And that's the key. What you have discipline, because there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. What I was doing is wrong, because and that's a lot of reasons why I wouldn't want to speak to kids in front of kids, because I wasn't healed. So I felt I would be a hypocrite by telling them right from wrong when I'm not doing right, or I'm not living right, or I'm doing things that I'm not supposed to, or overdoing it. Now I can speak to them.
Right.
Now I can talk.
What you said about when your mom said, "I got my son back," that hit, because that, you think about, you ever watch when you're little, the first thing a pro athlete says when they get drafted or when they get on camera, "Hi, mom." That's your rock.
Right.
So I bet you that was like the kids say nowadays, say less. When your mom said, "Now I got my son back,"
right.
That was probably one of the huge catalysts of the point of no return for you doing that.
Right. Yeah, and it felt great, man, because now it's like, for example, I tell you, you work so hard to train, and then the night before, you just go out, party, and club. Yeah. All that hard work, it goes to the trash. It's for nothing. So any slip up, any sip, anything like that defeats the purpose of what I'm doing. And that's my challenge every day, to stay strong. So that's a part of my recovery. That's a part of my self-care, knowing that each day is a battle. Don't get complacent. Don't get too comfortable. You know what I mean? And it's in anything that you do. And sometimes I feel guilty, and that I'm living like I could just smile and be happy, because the Lord is like telling me this how it feels to be clean and nothing. And I'm guilty, because I'm like, I'm feeling great, even though there's all this stuff going on. I feel bad, because I'm like, when I get so happy, and it could just be a feeling that comes about me. Nothing good is like, I'm looking at it like, I'm so happy to be happy, right? And to feel the way I do when I wake up in the morning, when I go to bed at a normal time, when I'm eating 3 meals a day instead of eating 4 o'clock in the morning because I'm full of alcohol, like beer, because that's all I drink was beer. But it's the same thing. I'm full of that. I'm not taking care of my body. And that's all that it's a whole process as far as that. So it's sacrifice, and discipline. And hold yourself accountable as well, and don't point the fingers.
Definitely on the whole situation of sports media, it relates to that too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Y'all is off the chain. That's a whole nother. I'm sitting there, Zach. Yeah, definitely. Can you please chime in on some of that for us, please?
Hey, on that side of the outlet of sports media, it's a lot of discipline. You have to go and you have to reach out to these athletes, and some athletes will tell you no, and you have to reflect on that. You have to accept it and respect it, but you have to keep on plugging through, and it's a testament to your will. And there's always going to be losses, just like football, and there's going to be wins throughout. And you have to respect both sides of it, loss or win. And reaching out to these athletes, it's hard, and I'm not gonna deny it. And the sports media aspect, people don't. It's not an easy job for everybody, and
No.
Colin Coward said it best. You have to be willing to eat ramen noodles for a long time.
Beef flavor.
Yeah, that chicken go hard now.
And bringing up God in this topic, it's just he's blessed me throughout my journey so far, and going to Full Sail University in Florida, and graduating in the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting just recently.
There you go.
For you.
Just very blessed throughout my journey so far, knowing athletes and reaching out to them, and them having the being so open to me and letting me interview them throughout my last year and a half doing this. And for everybody listening, if you want to get in this field and interview athletes, it's you just have to stay focused and always let God guide you. And that's like the testament to my journey. It's been God through all of it. And I've been just like you guys, I've had my ups and my downs too. And God's been there and closer than a brother. And he says that in the Bible. That's my little words on sports media, Mr. Hannock.
Yeah, man. But as a witness, man, I see your hard work. I see the drive in you, man. I see the determination. I see that the fall down, get up. And that's one of the things that I love about you, man. You're a professional. You're genuine with it. But you kick tail. You work your butt off. You do whatever it takes on a positive note to get this thing going. And that's why it's an honor working with you, man. And you understand well. And I mean, you're like Kyle Coward in them, man. Like I see that in you, like legendary, future Hall of Famer with this, man. So I'm proud to say that I work with you, man, and it let me come along and kind of learn on the ropes and put my 2 cents in.
Definitely, it's a blessing to have people on the show every week, and Mr.
Right.
Will Kroom and Mark Lanton, the professional boxer. It's a blessing to reach out to you guys and just to pick up these conversations.
Thank you so much for the invite. This was definitely a pleasure.
Hey, you're welcome.
Thank you guys for coming. We enjoyed you guys too. I learned a lot, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me. Hey, Will, do you live in Worcester, Massachusetts?
I live outside. I live in Westford, so I'm closer towards Lowell.
Okay, yeah. Because I fought in the Olympic trials. The Olympic boxing trials in Worcester for the 1992 Olympics. So at this place called the Centrum. I think it was the Centrum. Yeah.
Yeah, that's now.
Oh, okay.
I remember the Centrum, yeah.
Yeah, that's where we are. That's where we fought in the Olympic trials in 1992.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, thank you for your service and everything you've done too, man.
Well, thank you, man. I got some good friends, man. My friend Brandon Merriweather, he played for the Patriots. Ron Dixon.
Safety.
Yeah,
Great.
Ron Dixon.
I played Ron Dixon's little brother at West Georgia.
Oh, yeah? Oh.
Yeah, the Giants. Yeah, Ron Dixon went to my college.
Okay, wow, yeah. I was just talking to him. He lives in Orlando, so we see each other occasionally.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
World is too small.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
lying.
Y'all tell him you said what's up.
Tell him West Georgia, baby.
Huh.
Hey, it's a blessing to have this little platform, and it's gonna grow for sure.
Hey, you keep working, brother, man, and anything that I can help plug you guys,
Appreciate it.
let me know.
For sure.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Lent, get Merriweather. I've reached out to him several times, and at the Pro Bowl event this year, I went down to Florida. I think I met you, man, at Ace Cafe.
Yeah. Okay. I met you then. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, and
Very-
I was there.
Yeah.
what is it?
When he would have interviews on WEEI, he would just, man, I'd be spitting up my coffee, just laughing. Just he, you know,
Yeah.
I enjoyed him.
Definitely. Ike Taylor was there, Warren Sapp, trying to give
Yeah.
World Sports alumni a little shout out.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, fellas, man. You want to join World Sports Alumni? Yeah, worldsportsalumni.com is a great website. They fellowship with all professional athletes of all sports. So we have all NBA guys, NFL guys, boxers, wrestlers. We have everybody, and Major League Baseball. Part of World Sports Alumni. It's a global sports association for athletes, mainly former athletes. We hold events. We support each other. We do things for each other. So look it up, worldsportsalumni.com, and they have a lot of stuff that you can we can do with you guys.
Definitely.
Yeah, y'all. That seems like a lot of fun, man. I remember having like the NFL meetings. You be going into the meetings like they have the what they call it, the former players chapters.
Yeah, NFL alumni.
Yeah, chapter would be crazy.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember those times I used to go. Lit.
But the World Sports Alumni is all sports, not just one sport.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
an event, everybody from all kinds of sports are there. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
And we all support each other and we do a lot of things for each other, and to help out. Somebody needs help with something, an event, or somebody owns a business, they want to hold a some kind of event, there's somebody who can help them. So we do a lot of things with each other. Great networking opportunity with the World Sports Alumni.
Definitely. Yeah, wife got Dream Voltage. Yeah, y'all check that out, man. Dream Voltage on Instagram. She's
Okay.
on YouTube. Yeah, look it out for the wives, girlfriends, man. Y'all check it out. It's Dream Voltage Instagram. Check it out. My girl doing some good things, man. Up and coming on her own, doing the grinding. So I'm proud of her for that, and support that. So yeah, y'all check that out, man. It's Dream Voltage. Zach, I want you to put it out there so they can see, send it to them so they can see and hand it to your wives and pass it along, man.
Definitely. Yeah, my Instagram, Z_Barnett1996, and our YouTube channel, as you guys are watching, Sports Talk 1996. Don't forget to subscribe, and we're doing several interviews during the week and publishing the content, and it's all from my and Hannick's company, B&D Sports Media, and
here's is Dream_Voltage. So y'all check that out. Put it down, write it down. I appreciate that support for the wifey, and yeah, man. Like I said, independent woman kicking tail, man. So
sure.
Grind mode.
Well, that concludes our show today. It's been a blessing to have you guys
definitely.
on for this.
God bless everybody, man.
Yeah. God bless you guys, man. Hey, I put my number in the chat section. You guys ever make it to Orlando? Look me up.
Yeah, we're gonna lock y'all in. I'm gonna get all the info from Zach, man. I'm gonna text y'all mine, so y'all, and then once I get the number, I'll text y'all so we can stay in touch, man.
Okay.
We all brothers and alumni, so you already know.
For sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, it's a blessing.
Definitely.
We'll keep in touch, and for the Sports Talk support out there, we'll see you back next time. God bless.
Peace.